The sky has begun to dim, its deep blues folding slowly into darker shades. The world outside grows quieter with each passing moment, as if the day itself is tucking in beneath a blanket of stars. Somewhere far away, a soft wind moves through the trees, brushing against the leaves with a whisper. A candle flickers near the edge of the room, its tiny flame swaying gently with the breath of evening. You are safe here, resting in the calm warmth of stillness, wrapped in the hush of the approaching night. Let yourself sink deeper. Let your thoughts melt away like the last golden light on a mountain slope. Let your body soften with the rhythm of your breath, slow and easy, like a river moving over smooth stone. Now, far away from here, the world of long ago begins to form. High above the earth, hidden among clouds and cliffs, there was once a city that touched the sky, a city carved from stone, grown quietly into the folds of the Andes, a place of quiet rituals and distant footfalls, of terraces and cool stone paths, winding along the mountain's breath. Long before the sounds of the modern world, long before the hum of machines and the flicker of electric light, there lived a people who moved in rhythm with the sun and the rain. They watched the skies with reverence and read the earth like a sacred book. Their homes were built to meet the mountain's gaze. Their lives whispered through the valleys, through the moss-covered stairways, through the soft shadows of time. Tonight, we drift toward them. We follow the moonlight climbing slowly over ancient ridges. We follow the wind that once carried voices between the peaks. We step gently into the hush of history, into the mist, into the quiet soul of a place once known only to those who lived in harmony with the sky. Let the story begin. The mountains rise like frozen waves, softened by mist that moves slowly across the ridges. Clouds cling to the peaks, their edges glowing faintly in the early light. Far below, a valley stretches into shadow, where a river hums its endless song, curving like a silver thread between cliffs. The air is cool and still, carrying the scent of wet stone and the gentle breath of moss. Everything is quiet, but alive. The mountain does not sleep. It waits. This was the world of the Inca, a people who knew the sky not as a ceiling but as a companion. They built not in defiance of nature, but in deep respect. Their walls followed the contours of the earth. Their cities echoed the lines of the mountains. Their hands shaped stone with patience, until each piece fit perfectly beside the next. Without the need for mortar or nails, what they created did not shout. It whispered, it blended, it endured. Far above the valleys where clouds drift like dreams, the highlands open in long terraces. These terraces catch the light like steps leading upward, green and soft beneath bare feet. Crops grow here in silence. Potatoes, maize, herbs, all reaching toward the sun with quiet determination. The people rise with the light. They walk narrow paths carved into the hillsides. Their garments rustle gently in the breeze, woven from alpaca wool dyed in earth tones, their colors echoing the mountain's quiet palette. Children chase each other across stone courtyards. They laugh, but not loudly. Their games mimic the movements of birds. Elders sit nearby, watching with half-closed eyes, the lines on their faces tracing stories from long before. There are no clocks here, only the slow drift of sun and shadow. Time is not counted in hours, but in harvests, in stars, in the movement of rivers and the flight of condors. At night, fires glow inside stone rooms. The flames flicker across walls built long before memory. Outside, the stars gather in silence. The Milky Way stretches above like a road made of light. The Inca called it the Celestial River. It mirrored the one that flowed below. Above and below, everything reflected, balanced. Life was not lived in separation from the sky or the earth, but as part of a great, soft harmony. The people did not speak of conquering the land. They spoke to it. They made offerings of corn and chicha, of coca leaves and songs. They asked the mountains for safety. They thanked the rain for its blessing. Their gods were not far away, but present in every tree, every stone, every breath. Even the great emperor was not above the world, but beneath the sky's quiet gaze. This was a time without written words, but with stories passed in rhythm, in chants, in woven threads that told of journeys, seasons, and dreams. And in one place, hidden high among the clouds, a sanctuary was shaped, a place where priests could read the sun's movement across carved stones. A place where silence was sacred. You may not hear the people anymore, but the stones remember. The wind still knows their language, and if you listen, gently, you may begin to hear it too. Her name is Killa, named for the moon. She is young, but not a child, and her feet know the paths between the terraces like they know the shape of her sandals. She wakes before the light fully reaches the peaks, when the mist still drapes softly across the stones outside her doorway. Her home is built of smooth rock, fit so tightly that the wind cannot pass through. Inside, it is cool and dim, but never cold. The air holds the faint scent of earth, of dried herbs hanging quietly in the corners, of warm wool woven by patient hands. Killa rises without hurry. Her blanket, dyed with soft purples and faded reds, falls away as she moves. Her breath is steady, calm, as if she were already part of the morning. She wraps herself in a shawl, its fibers spun from the wool of a gentle alpaca her brother tends. The fabric carries the smell of the sun and smoke from last night's fire. She steps into the silence of the village with bare feet, feeling the stone's cool memory of night. The sun is just beginning to peak above the distant mountains. Its rays stretch slowly across the sky, touching the highest ridge first, then falling like golden cloth over the terraces below. The light does not rush. It drapes. It brushes against Killa's cheek as she makes her way toward the eastern fields. Other footsteps sound nearby, not loud, never hurried. This is not a world that rushes. Her neighbors are already walking, carrying small woven baskets, speaking in murmurs that drift like morning fog. They nod to her, but words are not needed. The mountains speak enough. She reaches a small plot, tiered above the slope, its walls holding the soil in place like cupped hands. She kneels, pressing her fingers gently into the earth. The soil is dark, rich with the breath of the rain that fell 2 days ago. She begins her work, not with effort but with rhythm, pulling, placing, smoothing. A quiet prayer rests on her lips, not spoken but understood. She is not asking for abundance, only balance. A little farther along the path, children are gathering water from a spring that trickles out of the mountain's side. Their laughter is soft, never piercing. The water slips over stone in delicate streams, clear as glass, cool as the sky before dawn. Killa drinks from a gourd passed between hands, then carries it to a small altar tucked beneath a tree. There, she leaves a few coca leaves, a quiet thank you for the day. As the sun climbs higher, she returns home with the others. The fire has been coaxed back to life. A pot of thick soup simmers, its scent wrapping around her like a memory. She eats slowly, beside her father and sister, their backs resting against smooth stone. No one speaks of plans. The day will unfold as it always does, not in steps, but in circles. Later, she weaves. Her fingers move through the threads with care. Colors emerge not in patterns of pride, but in signs of meaning. A bird's wing, a river bend, the turn of a season. The wool slips through her fingers like water. She hums softly, the same melody her mother sang when she was little. The loom creaks gently, like a whisper. In the afternoon, she walks again, carrying a bundle of dried herbs wrapped in cloth. She climbs a little higher toward the temple edge, where the stones align with the sun's passage. There, she sits for a while, watching the clouds move over the valley. Her eyes are still, her breathing slow. The city is not busy. It listens. Killa does not wonder about the future. She carries the present like a quiet flame cupped in both hands. She lives with the sky above and the earth below. Her days are not counted. They are lived, one breath, one step, one soft moment at a time. The sun has shifted. Its golden weight now leans softly toward the west, brushing longer shadows across the terraces. A warm hush falls over the village as the morning's work slows. Not from exhaustion, but because the rhythm of the day is changing. Killa steps quietly from her doorway once again, a small bundle of woven cloth held close to her chest. Inside are leaves and flowers gathered days before, now dried and fragrant. They are meant for her aunt who lives beyond the next ridge. Not far, but far enough that the walk feels like stepping into a story. She begins without announcement, just a slow movement onto the path carved into the side of the mountain. The stones beneath her feet are old, smoothed by years of gentle steps. There are no wheels here, no carts, no rush. The mountain receives each footfall with patience. The path winds upward first, narrow and flanked by stone walls overgrown with soft green moss. Ferns sway gently along the edges, their delicate fronds stirred by the high breeze. Birdsong drifts through the trees, not loud, never urgent, just small flutters of sound, scattered like petals on the air. Killa walks slowly, feeling the sun rest lightly on her back, the wind brushing across her cheeks like a silent blessing. The bundle she carries smells of chamomile and mint. The scent rises gently, comforting, familiar, a quiet garden held in her hands. As the path curves, She passes a small clearing where stones form a low circle. She pauses here, just for a moment, and touches her fingers to one of the rocks. There is no need to speak. This place remembers her. It remembers footsteps, stories told in silence, and the stillness of those who sat here before her. She continues upward, now among tall grasses that whisper secrets when the wind moves through. Far below, the river glimmers like a snake made of light, winding endlessly between cliffs. Across the valley, other peaks rise, cloaked in shifting mist. Their shapes seem to breathe. Killa's breath remains steady, each inhale drawing in the thin mountain air, each exhale slow and grounding. She passes a stone niche carved into the mountainside. Inside it, a small offering rests, a handful of maize, a folded leaf, a single white feather. These are not grand gestures, only quiet signs of respect. Killa bows her head for a moment, then moves on, her sandals brushing lightly over dust and stone. The path leads her now through a grove of trees where the light falls in patches. It is cooler here. The wind weaves through branches above, making a sound like water trickling over rock. She steps carefully, mindful of roots and fallen leaves. A hummingbird darts past her, its wings a soft blur. It pauses in midair, then disappears into shadow. Killa smiles but does not speak. There is nothing to say, only to feel. Soon, she sees the edge of her aunt's home, half hidden by stone and vine. Smoke curls gently from a fire pit, and the smell of toasted grains lingers in the air. A woman stands near the doorway, her hair long and dark, her shawl wrapped tight against the breeze. She turns and sees Killa approaching. No words are exchanged, only the shared quiet of family, of time, of the space between mountains. The bundle is placed into her aunt's hands. They sit together on low stone stools. The tea they brew is soft and warm, tasting of mountain flowers. They sip slowly, looking out at the ridges fading into clouds. No urgency, no plan, just the steep slopes, the soft wind, and the flickering shadows of afternoon. Time slips by like water in a shallow stream, and when the sun leans low behind the tallest peak, Killa rises once more. Her aunt presses a small charm into her palm, shaped from clay and thread, a token of the visit, a quiet circle completed. The return journey begins with the same steps, the same air, the same stillness, but the shadows are longer now, the wind a little cooler. The stones beneath her feet hold the memory of the day, and the mountain watches gently, unmoving, timeless. The sky has begun its slow descent into darkness. The light that once danced on the terraces now fades into soft gray, and the breath of the mountains turns cooler with each passing minute. Killa walks carefully along the path, her steps sure, but slower now, not from weariness, but from the quiet that settles into everything as the day closes its eyes. Mist has returned, slipping low over the stones and grasses like a soft blanket. The birds are still, the river hums below, steady and low, as though it too is winding down. The world seems to lean inward, folding gently into itself, just as Killa does when she finally reaches the narrow stairway that leads home. The doorway waits, half-shadowed, lit by the soft flicker of the fire within. Her sister sits just beyond the threshold, legs crossed, hands resting in her lap. She looks up and smiles without speaking. Killa returns the smile, stepping inside with a quiet breath. She places the charm from her aunt on a small shelf carved into the stone. It rests there now, beside other tokens from other days, all carried home under the same fading light. The warmth of the fire reaches her slowly. Its glow does not fill the room, but touches its edges gently, casting long, soft shadows against the walls. A clay pot simmers beside it, and the air smells faintly of herbs and grain. Her father moves a log with the end of a stick, the flames answering with a soft crackle, then settling again into their steady rhythm. Killa sits close to the warmth, pulling her shawl around her shoulders. Her feet rest on the smooth floor, worn from generations of footsteps. She leans back, the cool stone behind her a comforting weight, her eyes half close, watching the fire more than the room, her thoughts floating like the smoke rising above the flame. Outside, the stars begin to appear. First one, then another, then a small handful forming the quiet shapes of ancient stories. Above the mountains, the Milky Way stretches slowly into view, pale and wide, a gentle river of light, the same river mirrored below, winding through the valley, never stopping, never speaking, only flowing. No one speaks much now. A few soft words pass between her sister and father, but they move like feathers on the air. The language of night is not one of voices, but of glances, of breathing. of the silence that holds everything together. Killa's fingers move across the edge of her shawl, tracing the threads. Her body is still, her mind calm. She has no need to remember the day, for it is still with her. In the warmth of the fire, the scent of herbs, the cool press of stone. As the fire fades lower, her family begins to drift into their own places of rest. Thin blankets are unrolled. A handful of embers glow at the heart of the fire. Outside, the wind moves slowly between the stones of the village, carrying the scent of the earth, of wood smoke, of stars. Killa lies down close to the wall, where the cool stone meets her back and the soft fabric of her blanket brushes her cheek. Her eyes close without thought. Her breath settles into the same rhythm as the mountains. In, out, slow, still. The night deepens, quiet and wide, and in this stillness, surrounded by stone, sky, and ancient earth, sleep begins to rise like mist. Gentle, patient, unseen, but always near. The fire has become only a faint glow, a small breath of red hidden beneath the ash. The room is wrapped in shadows, gentle and quiet, like the inside of a dream. Killa lies still, her body folded softly into sleep's embrace. The blanket rises and falls with her breath, slow, steady, weightless. Outside, the wind continues its long journey across the mountains. It moves through stone doorways and along the edges of ancient walls, brushing over moss and carved terraces with the softness of a whispered lullaby. There are no footsteps now, only the hush of mist and the far-off sigh of the valley. The stars above remain wide and silent. They do not flicker, only shimmer, steady and old. Their light falls gently on the mountain's shoulders, a silver dusting of silence. The Milky Way stretches endlessly, not in a line, but in a slow swirl, like breath turning in the sky. And below, in the folds of the sleeping village, the stones rest too. They have seen centuries pass. They have watched mornings rise and nights deepen, without moving, without speaking, yet they hold stories in their silence. Stories that do not need to be told, only felt. The city does not sleep in the way people do. It lingers, it listens, it waits, and in its waiting, it hums, a sound too soft for waking ears, but just enough for the space between dreams. Killa's breath joins this hum, and in the space between each inhale and exhale, the mountains seem to breathe with her. There is no end, no parting moment, no last word, only the slow unfolding of night, the soft rhythm of stillness, the tender hush of wind against stone. Clouds drift quietly across the sky, covering and uncovering the stars like gentle waves. The world dims, the air cools, the sounds fade. Sleep takes her, not like a door closing, but like mist rising, slowly, softly, entirely. The mountain holds her, the sky breathes above her, and the night goes on,